you've come to. Tell me, what do you remember?
You know, it's not too often that a game developer reaches out to me directly, but it's cool when they do. I guess I've become enough of a niche internet micro-celebrity to have a viewer that's also a game developer because the developer behind the game Crown's Trial has reached out to me asking me to check out his game. And yeah, I actually have some pretty good things to say about this one. As a long and short, it's effectively going for a little boss rush game that is souls-lite, as they call it, as in it's kind of running off the Dark Souls fundamentals, but there's not really any sort of levels with backtracking or anything like that. It's just all about the boss fights. That's what you're going to be getting when you try this game out. Is that a bad thing? No. I can appreciate a game that knows what it wants to do. And yeah, as of right now, I think the game actually has a pretty solid vision going on with what they're going for. The most notable thing you're going to see right away is probably the art style, which is, well, obviously very low poly and, at the moment, unfinished. However, from what I can tell, it seems like they're going for almost a Kingsfield-esque art style, sort of, with like the low poly PS1 style models lacking eyes and a lot of facial details, kind of just giving you more of the essentials so you fill in the rest. If that's the case, I think that's really cool, and I hope they kind of just refine it more a bit over time, fix shaders and animations and stuff like that, because you will see a few herky-jerky animations from here and there. As for gameplay, well, it's kind of basic, but there's a little bit more going on here than you think. So, it's your standard R1 to attack, and then you have your L1 to block. But it's also, if you do it at the right time, going to be a parry. And you also have your special weapon arts using L2 and R2. These will actually differ from each battle because a mechanic that you're going to quickly learn, and that would be that your personal equipment loadouts as well as the sort of visual style going on in the game, I guess, it's not really art style, maybe more setting, it's different for each fight, and this also does affect your weapon arts, so to speak. Now, this does mean that each boss fight will play a little bit differently. We've got the fight against Straw, which is kind of you using a little scythe and a wooden plank shield. Then the big battle of the demo is against Flama the Gladiator, who you've got, again, sword and board. Pretty straightforward. But one of the other bosses that's shown off in the trailer is against a samurai dude, and there you're kind of going more traditional Sekiro sort of fights. Now, I didn't notice any sort of bugs in my short time with the demo, but if I did have to raise any critiques, that would be the parry that's going on. So the idea is, you hold LB, you block, but if you do it at the perfect time, then you parry the attack. And there's also a dodge roll which gives you long invincibility frames, but that's about it. And there's a quick step by mashing the A button, which allows you to, quickly dash through an attack. It seems to also give you total invincibility frames, but there are much fewer of them. However, if you nail a perfect dodge with a quick step, then you get a little burst of speed, which is cool. Those work fine. However, the parry is kind of in this weird spot right now, where it feels like it's trying to be both a Dark Souls parry as well as a Sekiro deflection, and it's a little bit weird. It's kind of got a slight delay on it, so it doesn't really work for Sekiro, but it's also a little too snappy as like the Dark Souls style one, and it's not quite as impactful because it takes multiple parries to stagger a boss. And again, this is because it's currently early on, so, feedback's not going to be the greatest thing out there, but I do think it would be better if they just decide early, okay, which one do we want to do? Either more Sekiro deflections or Dark Souls parries, because trying to have a best of both worlds is not going to really cut it. Now, as for this demo, currently there's only 2 boss fights. The first one is against Straw, and there's very little for me to say about him. He's your serviceable combat tutorial, and he's got an AoE attack that makes you just run away from him. Or maybe you could dodge roll through it, but I haven't tried that yet. Once he's beaten, you get to go to this nice tranquil little hub world area, which I think is cool, and your little masked companion will tell you a bit more about this place, as well as some of the giant statues you can go to. Now, it seems like you're going to be able to tackle these in different orders if you like, but for now, the only one we're able to go fight is Flama the Gladiator. Also, if you're going to tease us like this, please add fishing as a minigame. Now, before we get to fight the bosses, we get to learn some more backstory on them, and I think it's delivered pretty well as this sort of theater setting, kind of reminding me of Digimon Time Stranger. which, hey, not a bad thing, that does stand out visually. And these are a decent little way to carry the story across quickly in about 3 or 4 minutes, as opposed to doing some overly long backstory or having you read about text on a random pair of socks you found. And it's helped out by their actually pretty good voice acting.
Resolved to yet free his allies, Flamma decided there is but one course of action: to become a renowned gladiator and buy his countrymen's freedom.
It's no Expedition 33, but it's sure as hell better than, another wild dog that doesn't know its life or death. I really hope someone gets that reference. The real star of the show is our boss fight against Flamma the Gladiator, and it's pretty good. Now, granted, there's definitely a couple little herky-jerky animations going on, given that this is still very early in development, but it's got the fundamentals of a pretty solid boss fight. Phase 1 is basic as your sort of two-sword-wielding opponent, though all of his attacks feel pretty clear. Even if his one overhead swing has a bit of an awkward delay, it's one that you learn really quickly. In Phase 2, you're going to see more of an escalation as he now starts pulling at a spear he can throw at you, and he will rush you down a bit more. It's pretty cool. Albeit, there's a weird thing that goes on in this fight where, well, it's kind of got a combo meter going on the side with that letter grade, but the game's combat doesn't really facilitate this sort of gameplay style yet. As of right now, it's essentially just a how good are you at hitting the boss and not getting hit in return. And then for the last phase, he gains a much quicker thrust attack he can do, as well as a little extra follow-ups to his attacks and a spin slash he can do, which admittedly has a herky-jerky animation going on, but it feels more natural to dodge than you'd think. And sure, at the moment we're looking at kind of more of a skeleton of a game, but it's a good strong skeleton that remembered to drink its milk. As of now, that's all there really is to the demo, but we know that there's going to be a boss fight against a Valkyrie lady as well as a samurai, and there's going to be at least 9 more bosses we have to fight to finish the King's Crown, as well as the fight with the King itself, so we're looking at least 12 or so boss fights in this game. Seems like there'll be a pretty sizable little game here when we're done. So overall, I had a pretty fun time with this game. The demo's on Steam, so I recommend checking it out, and if you enjoy it, wishlisting it, as that helps these small devs out a lot. So I give this a nice little recommendation if you're looking for a way to kill about 20 minutes. The devs didn't ask me to even make this video. I made it because I thought it was fun, and hey, I have this thing called free will. So yeah, I'd say it's worth checking out. I don't have an outro. Here's a picture of Tux.